We started originally just with a ghetto wrestling ring. It was like 4 posts in my backyard and some rope around it, some turnbuckle, and that's it. And then we had a ring.
Wrestling was very, very popular back then. It was really at its heyday.
And backyard wrestling was also big because of that, you know. The more people watching the product, the more you're gonna get out there trying to emulate it, and that's what we were doing too. So people started coming over from high school and seeing that I had a ring, and we're like, all right, let's wrestle, you know. So we started wrestling. We just came up with characters to use so we didn't have to keep being the characters we saw on TV like we had done before.
We all used to gather together and hang out and watch WWF.
Stone Cold was popular.
The Hardy Boys and the Big Show.
The Rock's popularity was getting, I mean, people were going to these things. This is really cool for us.
People kind of branched out and brought other people in too, so it was like when our roster got bigger, we decided like maybe we should do a show, you know, like in front of people, because we started getting better at it.
We thought, you know what, hey, if we enjoy it, maybe other people will too.
Just through practicing and working with each other, we just started seeing that, like, you know, it might be entertaining, so, you know, we decided to put on the show.
This was before Facebook, this was before Twitter, this was before MySpace, this was, you know, pretty much word of mouth.
And then you find out this backyard wrestling is on 2020. You know, like, kids should be doing this, and you're us assholes screwing around. And, you know, we got this flyer out, and people were interested.
People were curious. You know, they didn't have any idea. You know, they didn't know what they were walking into.
And what the hell else are you gonna do? It's high school kids beating the crap out of each other, and it's okay. You know, you're gonna show up. So it was pretty cool.
Everyone who was involved was just, you know, handing out flyers, and I remember people went into the stairwells with like hundreds of the copies of the flyers and just like threw them from the top and let it rain like everywhere.
Throwing flyers everywhere. Everybody knew about it.
We didn't expect, you know, pretty much anybody to come.
We expected maybe 5 to 10 people show up.
We had hyped it up through ourselves and through the group of close people around the people that did it, so we figured people would come just to see it, but we didn't expect what happened to happen.
You know, and people wanted to see how well we could do. You know, we knew about each other. We were, you know, the promotions were pretty good. All of us had a good number of friends, so it was like, hey, come on out, watch these guys kick the shit out of each other. Worst case scenario, you're just gonna see somebody fall on their ass and you get to laugh at them. Best case scenario, you can see some pretty cool wrestling. So it was really popular, you know, it was at the right time. I think that's why it scored. I don't think you'd be able to get it away, well, probably today, because everyone was gonna have their little cell phones out and take video. But, you know, I think it was just at the right time. Initially, it looked bad because there weren't that many people showing up.
And before you knew it, you know, what started as 10 ended up to be 20.
I mean, it got bigger. People were just kind of curious, popped their heads in, like, okay, this is actually kids wrestling and not, you know, some sort of massive WWF event. You know, like, I don't know what the fuck you're expecting.
What started off as 20 ended up to be 40.
Yeah, we probably had between 80 and 100 people, I'd say, out there watching our first show that we ever did.
It ended up being something completely bigger than we'd ever imagined.
I remember preparing a lot. We had people who were working on charging people at the door and things like that. And it wasn't for us to make money doing it. As far as charging people, we did it because we needed supplies, upgrades for the ring and stuff like that.
We weren't doing it obviously for money because nothing was funded to us. Everything that we got was acquired through our circle.
Our high school was throwing out the pole vault mats, and they were getting new ones. And I remember somebody, I don't remember who, went to the security or whoever and said, can we come and take these over the weekend? And they were like, yeah, you're gonna get rid of them? Go ahead. We lined all those up. My neighbor at the time, he sewed boat covers and he did car interiors and things like that. He saw us with our tarp trying to struggle with it. He took it over to his garage and sewed us up, fit perfectly right over, and we just tied it down and staked it into the ground there. And we put like cardboard and some layers of wood and things on top, and we had a layer of carpet over that, and then the tarp over that. We had our ring. And as far as the ropes, we ran real cabling around the ropes, and then garden hose over the cable, and there you go, so we didn't snag ourselves on the metal. So that was our ring now going into our first show. Since we were going to do a show, we wanted to look like at least a little better than just wrestling on the ground. There was a whole bunch of things behind the scenes that happened that I can remember. Setting up the entranceway and getting the music CD, you know, burned. I remember doing that. That was a big deal. We had a specific music guy who was back there working it.
I don't think anybody really had the idea of how in-depth, you know, we brought it.
We had parking in the neighborhood to worry about.
Cars all over the place, and never expected to be what it was going to be.
It's all the little details like that, you know, it's everything like that that was going into it. So it was definitely a lot more work than probably it seemed to people. To us it seemed cool, and we had to make sure everything was right for it, so it was, at least in our eyes.
As it started, it seemed like, you know, everybody got on their phone and just started calling people like, oh my God, you got to get here right now. You have to see what the hell's going on.
And I was there as a cameraman. I'd actually, you know, I was friends with everybody through ROTC and just, you know, buddies in general. So I knew they were doing it, and they asked me for some help. So I said, okay, no problem.
The last match of Millennium Massacre, to tell you about the last match, I'll have to bring you all the way back to the first match, which was Spider versus Dirtbag. Spider was supposed to get some color on his head, which means he was going to blade his head.
There were some serious hits. There were some really good hits. I mean, when Casey got blasted over the head with a light bulb twice, you know, and you hear this pop, that's come by, you know, without really, you can hear it in the video too. You can hear people surprised, like, damn, these kids ain't fucking around.
So he bladed his head and in the match, and he bled pretty good. I remember that being a reason that we wanted the last match to kind of stick out above that one, because it was the main event for the title, the hardcore match. I don't want to say that's what made it happen, but that's kind of like the setup for it, because Spider's blood in his cut looked so good and it bled perfectly.
A lot of these people had never seen anything like this.
I think we wanted to kind of capture that.
I don't think people were expecting barbed wire. I don't think people were expecting light bulbs and thumbtacks and...
Tacks! Paul, we had tacks, okay? Jason goes down and comes up and they're all over his back. They're like jammed into him. He had tacks sticking in his back. He had little pinprick holes. It was ridiculous. And I'm looking, I'm videotaping, it's like, oh my God, my friends are dying today. Somebody's not gonna make it. Right? I mean, you got tags stuck in your back. You can't declare that as fake.
I was supposed to lose the title. Like, I never really felt comfortable having the title anyway, because I didn't want to be all spoiled about it and be like, I'm the champion of my federation and stuff like that. I actually made a belt out of cardboard and was the self-proclaimed champion and let the title go to like other wrestlers, you know what I mean? I thought it seemed more legit that way. Not only that, we always gave it to the person who seemingly deserved it the most. Everyone kind of collectively agreed and said, this is the guy at the time to be the champ. Well, anyway, this was before any of that kind of politicking happened. I was going to just give the belt to Corey at that point, and he was going to be the champ. Yeah, that's not what happened.
So, last match of the night, it's the hardcore match.
It was a match between Hardcore Cox and the Dirtbag.
And Corey had got like a T-ball bat with barbed wire. I mean, this is fucking ridiculous. You understand? Like, no reason any minors should have been hanging out with any of this stuff.
You know, we do all of our spots, and you know, the match is going smooth and it's going good, and the crowd's into it and everybody's loving it, and all the wrestlers from the back are all out and everybody's watching it, and we get to the point where, well, I actually bladed first. Corey pile drives me onto a garbage can lid. So I cut my head a little bit, and I had a little tiny trickle of blood, and so I'm all proud of it and everything. Oh shit, I'm bleeding.
They're wrestling outside of the ring.
Corey goes for the spot where he's on the ground and he's supposed to be blading now.
Hardcore Cox had taken out the razor blade, which was crafted to where there was only just a very minimal amount of blade showing.
And I climb up to the top, and I'm supposed to drop an elbow on him while he's blading. You know, I did bide him a little time by climbing up to the top.
Matt Ives is refereeing, right? Corey's down. He cuts himself like he's supposed to, because we all knew what the hell we were doing, right? Cuts him a little bit, and then Matt shakes him. Corey like damn near scratches his brain, right? Cutting that far deep. He stands up, blood's pouring out of his face. Looks like Mick Foley. So this is bad.
He nicks his head and he goes a little too deep. So when I come down on the elbow, I hear people start talking about, oh, get the ketchup off your face and that's fake blood or whatever.
You know, a couple of the spectators were in the belief that it was, oh, it's ketchup, you know, and I'm like, You know, I screamed to these people, it's not ketchup, it's blood.
If you watch the video, I immediately checked my head because I thought they were talking about me. I didn't realize he had started bleeding yet. You know, I thought it was going to take a little bit more time.
He stood up and blood just came, you know, squirting out of his head, unlike anything I've ever seen.
I noticed it. I'm like, guys, you can hear me. Guys, we probably should stop this. I hear behind me, shut the fuck up, Triana, it's fine, don't worry about it. He's supposed to do that, right? No.
And when I looked up, I could see he was in bad shape. He was in a bad place. He was stumbling backwards. He was acting, you know, he was acting like he was coming out of the last move that happened. But while he was stumbling, I remember looking at him, and he knew at that point. He said, "Is it bad?" And I kind of was like, "Yeah." I'm like wiping the blood off his head and fake punching him and trying to like get a good look at the cut. And I'm like wiping his head and looking at him, and I'm like, pretty bad, man, you know. And then at that point, there's people circling us.
At this point, now you hear a couple people go, "We should probably stop. Just probably stop. Oh my God."
In the tape, you can hear people saying, "That's it, call it off," you know, like he's gushing pretty bad. And I could see the blood like just like spurting out of his head. Like every time his heart was beating, it was like splurting and just everywhere. It covered his face.
Jason stops. Corey leans over. It's pouring out of his head like gallons worth of blood.
So we decided to call it the end, you know. So instead of just calling it like that, Corey's like, put me through the table.
Corey takes like a gut punch from Jason.
So I'd give him a little kick, power bomb through the table, and then, you know, I go for the pin, but then they rang the bell and called it off. So I couldn't even drop the title successfully. I was trying, but couldn't do it. So
we're like, stop us up. So now we run over. The cameras get turned off, so now you lose all the good stuff. Matt Ives, his brother Nick, has a towel. He presses it to Corey's head.
I yelled to one of my friends to go get his truck.
I go running. Now my part in this is to be the ambulance. I've got the beat up Chevy Silverado piece of shit with the V8 and the Flowmasters that scream bloody murder. So I take off. I've got Corey in the car, and man, we were just hauling ass down Flamingo Road at rates of speed that no human should ever be driving in a 1989 Chevy Silverado. We're driving as fast as we can. We go through the light. Matt's behind us in the 72 Chevelle. I get through the light just in time. Matt doesn't catch it. Matt tries to avoid a car in front of him because now those cars are stopping. He puts the Chevelle into a guardrail. Who's directly across the street? Cooper City PD. I see the lights going. I'm easily going 100 miles an hour in a fucking pickup truck, right? But the lights aren't coming after me. And we're still going down Flamingo. Right? So I'm like, okay, we're good. They must have grabbed somebody else. Needless to say, it's Matt fucking Ives. Wait, but the best part is we do this like a bunch of drunk folks. We drop Corey off like a dead hooker. I mean, we just dumped him out because we didn't know what the hell was going to happen. We didn't want to be questioned. Me and Nick jump back in the car or a truck. We drive back off to find out what was going on because Matt should have been behind us. Now he's not behind us. We don't know what's, you know, what's what. So we get back to the house. Where's Corey? Fuck it, we dropped him off. What do you mean, where's Corey? He's either alive or he's dead. That's hardcore wrestling, baby.